Hey ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the review of the first 5 episodes of Season 6 of Cobra Kai, more specifically Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 1. And I have to say, that was some really intense experience. I was at the edge of my seat for all the 5 episodes, and I just binged through them, even though from an objective standpoint, outside of the episode 5, which we'll get to later, and yes, there will be spoilers. Yep, there will be gigantic spoilers in this video. So, if you haven't seen Season 6 of Cobra Kai yet, and you probably haven't, then I suggest you immediately leave, because, or maybe not immediately, because we'll get to spoilers later. First, we'll discuss overall Season 6, but overall first 5 episodes of Season 6, but later there will be gigantic spoiler, including the reveal, including everything that happened in the last episode. I often try to avoid spoilers, but this is so huge and I have so many strong opinions on that yep, there will be spoilers. But before we get to spoilers, first I will discuss overall first 5 episodes of Season 6. And I just said, I literally binge watched all of them in just one sitting. I was so invested and interested in what is happening, even though it honestly felt like more literally like a setup than a story going forward, because there was lots of drama between the characters and all that, and teenagers also struggling with trying to get to colleges, and a common problem with teenagers struggling which college you get to, and then there was some more drama between Johnny and Daniel, of course, as you can imagine. Their conflict is practically one of the main parts of the show. And then all the students training with the Miyagi-Do to get into Seikai Taikai tournament. Yep. But the many things that happened, especially in the last episode, were so interesting, unexpected, and I gotta say, the best parts were totally not revealed to us in the trailer. So yes, a lot of the season was just typical teen drama, but I admit I loved it, because even though I am far from a teenager at this point, yes, I'm almost approaching my 30s soon, unfortunately. I kinda feel old, but it still doesn't change the fact that I very clearly remember days when I was a teenager, and I still very much love teen dramas and all that. It's just so relatable, and yep. Even though I'm about to turn 30, not soon, I still very much really love teen dramas. So yes, I really love the teen drama. And I loved conflict between Daniel and Johnny. That conflict was among the main hearts of the show. So even if they finally did basically resolve their differences and all, if they just became purely best friends without any struggle, that would not be the same thing. Daniel and Johnny always will be struggling, and based on how this season ended, I very much wouldn't be surprised if their conflict started actually again rising now, based on how this last episode 5 ended. But overall, I really loved the first 5 episodes of Season 6 of Cobra Kai. And I really can't wait to see where this is going, because when it ended I was literally like,
is this it?
Yep, that's literally what I felt like when it ended, and it will be now a huge torture to wait all the way till 28th of November. But that's no new Netflix practice for you. But I really can't wait to see where this is going, although we are now about to enter spoiler territory. But first I will say this: as much as I liked the ending, how the story resolves also very much depends on the overall quality of the season, because yep, there are some things I am admittedly afraid might happen, and now that we're getting into spoiler territory, I'll tell you what it is. Because admittedly, those things, the show's quality does kind of depend on those things. But first, we'll get to the first spoiler. But again, if you haven't seen any of the episodes, and you probably haven't, then I suggest you immediately leave now. But if you don't care for spoilers, or if you already seen, then stick around because I have some really strong opinions on the spoilers. First, the first spoiler, which is that in the very first episode, I mean, we all knew that John Kreese and Sensei Kim will go to South Korea and start training students there, but nobody predicted that Sensei Kim's grandfather, like Kim Sun-yoon or whatever his name is, that he's actually still alive, and yeah, he totally looks like Pai Mei from Kill Bill. But yeah, I don't think anybody knew that the guy was still alive, and yep, he's as ruthless and brutal and evil as we all imagined him to be. And I mean, we all knew that he was going sharp in the season, but I don't think anyone knew that he's actually still alive. Like, we all probably thought it would be like flashbacks and things, and now I bet that he might actually be the ultimate main villain of the show, and I kind of hope that it's actually true. I really want to see more of him, and I hope it will not just be like he's just shown temporarily. No, he probably should be the ultimate main villain, but maybe he will not come back in part 2. Maybe they are saving him more of him for part 3, which I wouldn't mind at all. Actually, I think it would actually be a pretty good idea to save more of him for part 3. But now let's get on to another huge spoiler, which involves the ending of part 5, because this is huge, and also depending on how they solve the storyline, admittedly does shows quality, depends on it, kind of, at least for me. Okay, so now we'll talk about the ending, the last episode, which, because the first spoiler of the episode, a tragedy happens. Tori's mom actually dies, and then she goes, after it very much seemed like she was actually getting better, but then the doctors at the hospital say that there was a part in her sickness that they didn't notice, and Tori, understandably so, devastated, and then when she and Sam fight for the title of the captain in the Seikai Taikai, then the news that Tori's mom is dead reaches, and they immediately stop the fight, but Tori doesn't want it. She, quite the opposite, she wants to continue the fight because that's how she actually thinks she will feel better. And then, but they quit the fight anyway, and it's also when the new conflict between Daniel and Johnny arises, because Johnny had very much understood Tori and he didn't want the fight to stop, while Daniel very much insisted on stopping the fight, and John even said that after the tournament they are done forever, that they are never going to be friends. And yes, I think this conflict between Daniel and Johnny will actually be far bigger. I don't think it will just be like used for comedy purposes like their conflicts in part 5. No, I think this conflict will actually be a huge one. And now the biggest spoiler, because Johnny and Daniel and the students do arrive to Spain, where the Seikai Taikai takes place, and first they see Kreese and Sensei Kim, of course, only to see Tori's with them. And yes, that was very heartbreaking. I think it was heartbreaking very much for me, just as much as it was for the characters, and I'm pretty sure very much for plenty of other viewers too. And as soon as it ended, I was so pissed, because I now want to know where this is going. Like, it was such a powerful, heartbreaking, tough twist that I'm sure left all the viewers feeling as heartbroken as the characters that saw Tori with Kreese. Although, again, I've been said it before and will say it again, this is what I think, that depending how this gets resolved, very much depends on the show's quality, because I'm really hoping that Tori doesn't remain evil. I really hope that this is only temporary and she will eventually come around, because if Tori just now stays evil, that will completely be a disservice to her character and the character development that she went through. Because Tori at this point has actually become very much one of my favorite Cobra Kai characters. Like, she's so complex and relatable, and you just understand her pain, and you just like how much she cares about her family, and you understand why she did so many bad things she's done with all the seasons. So, while from the storytelling perspective, her decision did kind of make sense, but at the same time, again, depending on how this gets resolved very much depends on the show's quality, because if Tori remains evil, then I will be so pissed and I might even turn against the show, because again, that will be doing disservice to one of my favorite characters in the show at this point, because Tori has undergone such an amazing character development, and she's gone through so much. Yep, I think that she has to eventually come around and defect from Cobra Kai, because if she just now stays there, that will basically be like completely destroying her character arc at this point. Although I have one more theory actually. I actually kind of believe that that was entirely possible the minute her mother died, but I'm now more sure of it, that maybe Chris is actually the one who killed her mother, because like the doctors like said she died because they didn't see something before, but considering that Chris just showed up to Tori and tried to convince her to come back to Cobra Kai, which she rightfully refused, and then suddenly her mother is dead and she suddenly joins back to Cobra Kai. Yep, I'm calling it now. Chris is the one that killed Tori's mother, and if that's the case, then I'm almost certain that she will eventually come around and wants to stay with Cobra Kai. But again, this is only a theory. There is no confirmation of that. We'll certainly find out either in part 2 or part 3. We'll see. But again, I'm calling it. Chris is the one who killed Tori's mother. And the final thing I'll say about that season is that for now, it seems as I wanted it to be. Terry Silver isn't back, and I'm happy about it. As much as I love Terry Silver, I think that his story is over at this point. Like, I think that the final villains should be John Kreese and Master Kim San-yoon. Like, I didn't even expect him to actually be still alive, but he very much is. So yes, I think that actually Master Kim San-yoon should be the ultimate final villain. John Kreese could actually work too, but either one of them is fine. And the final thing, I'm almost certain now I will give a you should be watching treatment to Cobra Kai, but I ultimately decided to do it that after part 3, when the whole show ends, and if it sticks the landing, yep, then I'm totally doing a full you should be watching video to Cobra Kai. But so far, I very much enjoyed all the first 5 episodes of season 6 of Cobra Kai, and I really wanna know now where the story is going, and I'm so much anticipating now part 2. So ladies and gentlemen, here is my review of Cobra Kai season 6 part 1, and talk to you soon, bye!